Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for tuning in. I thought I would come out and do a quick video on my deck, get some fresh air, and apparently a skunk sprayed somewhere because it stinks out here. But that goes along with today's topic, I guess. You know, what I'm talking about, I feel like it stinks for me and a lot of the other anglers that we're in. So what I want to discuss today is what circuit should I fish next year? I want your input in this. I want to know where you guys want me to be fishing, where you think is the best place to make a career as a professional angler. I've been fishing what originally was the FLW tour for the past 11 years. They got purchased a couple years ago by Major League Fishing, MLF, and put the old FLW tour and renamed it the Pro Circuit and put it under the Bass Pro Tour. So a lot of people consider me now as a AAA angler. So my goal is to get to the highest level, right? And the highest level in the sport right now is either the Bass Pro Tour or the Bassmaster Elite Series. And I guess any way you look at it, I've got steps now that I need to get there. So I'm really evaluating what my business model is, what my overall chances of getting to the next level are, and where I can make a career for myself. You know, it's definitely hard to consider leaving a place that I feel like I've built a pretty good career at, but at the same time, right now I'm concerned, as well as almost all of the other anglers amongst the pro circuit, that we are in a circuit that isn't necessarily best for us as a career angler. You know, we're trying to make a living. I have family I got to support. So I know the organizations, all three of them, the Bassmasters, the Major League Fishing, and the NPFL, have a business that they need to run, and they need to do what's best for their businesses. Fully understand that. But having said that, I am a business, as well as every other angler, especially the full-time professional anglers. We need to make decisions that are best for our business. And that's what I'm trying to evaluate right now and figure out where I need to go. And those are the numbers I want to run by you. You know, last year I would have sat here and said, purely economically, it's a better place to fish is the Major League Fishing Pro Circuit, based on payouts, entry fees and payouts. You know, last year we were paying a $5,000 entry fee, and 60 places were getting paid back $10,000 or more, with an additional 15 spots or so that were getting roughly $5,000. So it came out to the point where it was, you know, not quite every 2.5 anglers, I think, or right around 2.5 anglers were getting a check, which isn't terrible. I mean, you fish a local event and you're happy if 1 out of 5 gets a payback. But things have changed a little bit. So moving forward into 2022, we just got some information that states that the entry fees now have increased $5,000. So my entry fee per tournament is going to be $5,833, and there are now $10,000 spots down to 50th instead of 60th. So there are 10 less $10,000 checks. Now they're still paying back $5,000 checks, or what is $5,500 in those spots, but that's less than the entry fee. So I did some numbers here, guys. I went through all 3 major circuits, and I've been doing numbers, and I'm losing sleep over this. This is really bothering me because it's just becoming really difficult to be a professional angler based on these types of payouts. I gotta tell you, so this will be the start of my 12th season. When I started over 11 years ago, every year I have fished, every year, entry fees have gone up with no increase in payouts, or payouts have gone down with no increase in entry fees. So every year it's gotten worse from purely a financial standpoint. So that's where we are at now, guys. I mean, if I want to continue, then I have the choice to continue, but it's hard to sit here and say that it's better to pursue a passion of mine than go get a desk job somewhere, which I have done and I don't want to do again. So I'm fishing, I just don't know where I'm fishing yet. So to go through the numbers, these are the numbers. And my options are basically continue to fish the pro circuit. I could try to get into the National Professional Fishing League. I don't know if they're full or not. I haven't had any discussions regarding it, but it's a potential option, so I'm still considering it. And I don't want to call them up and say, hey, I want in, and then not decide I don't want to be in. So I want to make a decision first. Or fish the Bassmaster Opens and try to get into the Bassmaster Elite Series. And if I were to do that, I would fish all 3 divisions, all 9 tournaments, because that's truly the best way to try to get in. And I know people are going to sit here and say, well, why not fish the Pro Circuit and try to fish the NPFL or try to fish the Opens as well? And it just, I mean, from an odds standpoint, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. It still gives you a chance to qualify for the elites, but it's really a very difficult thing to do, and your odds are greatly increased if you fish all 9, and I'll show you that here. Okay, so entry fee for the Pro Circuit event, $5,833. They pay $10,000 to 50th place, which is 33% of the field, and $5,000 down to 75th place, which is half the field. That sounds pretty decent for half the field getting your money back at least. Entry fee for the NPFL is $5,000, so a little bit less. They pay the top 40 out of 120 get $9,000, so a 33% of the field get a $9,000 check, which is the same as the Pro Circuit with $10,000 checks. But keep in mind, the entry fees are less with NPFL. So even though you win $1,000 less, the fact is, to fish the Pro Circuit, you're paying $833 more, which from a return standpoint, on your $5,000, on your tournament entry fee, is greater to fish NPFL. So on a $5,000 entry fee, winning $9,000 is a return of 80% of your entry fee. So in that case, you paid $5,000, you won back $4,000, or you won an additional $4,000 with your entry fee. With the Pro Circuit, if I fish with a $5,833 entry fee and I win a $10,000 check, I'm getting back 71% of my $5,833 entry fee. So that goes to the NPFL. I'm not even going to discuss Opens right now because they're a little bit lower, but I'll get into them. Yes, then with the Pro Circuit, I do have also the ability to cash a $5,000 check for spots 51 through 75. Okay, so I get back about 85% of my entry fee, but I'm still losing money by fishing that event at just only losing $833 with additionally my expenses. So yes, with the Pro Circuit, you do have a championship you can qualify. It's a no entry fee. You get $10,000 for showing up, and you get a shot at a couple $100,000. The NPFL has a no entry fee tournament as well, and the I think the championship payout I think is $50,000, and I think the top 25 guys make that. So those both are bonuses if you have a good year, right? The goal is to have a good year, to make the championship and have a shot at fishing for free. So when I look at the Opens are an $1,800 entry fee. If I want to fish all 9, that means I'm putting up $16,200. The payouts on the Opens are the worst in all of fishing. Like, I don't care what level you're at, they're probably the worst in all of fishing. The top 40 guys out of 150 get paid. That's not terrible. That's 26% of the field, so that's actually like almost a little better than 1 in 4. The issue is the 40th place check with a 150 boat field is $2,300. Now they've been getting like 200 plus boats, and they've been adjusting the 40th place checks and above to more, but they're not increasing the number of payouts. So the likelihood you get a check goes down. If you do get a check, you win more. So if it stays at what they put out in their flyer at 150 boats, you win back $2,300 on an $1,800 entry fee. That's a return on your money of 28%. That's terrible. Terrible, guys. Like, I don't know. I have no other way to say it. It's terrible, but you know what? Their fields are full because guys want to make the Elite Series. More power to them. but it's a terrible investment as an angler. Like, when you consider the fact that roughly 20% of the field gets paid, and then on top of that, they're only getting 28% of their entry fee, none of this includes expenses. So for me, my average expenses are roughly $1,500 a tournament. That includes travel to and from. Keep in mind, I'm in Wisconsin. Most of my tournaments are 14 to 22 hours away. So you're talking about serious gas price expenses. You got boat gas. Really, that $1,500 is truck gas, boat gas, and lodging for the week. So if you that doesn't change regardless of tournament. So if you figure in those expenses, so with the Pro Circuit and the NPFL, that's 6 tournaments each at $1,500 tournament. That's an extra $9,000 in expenses. With the Opens, that's 9 tournaments. It would be an additional $13,500 in expenses. So just to break even, to fish these circuits, I would have, in the Pro Circuit, I'd have $44,000 worth of expenses. I have 6 tournaments, so that means I would have to cash 4.5 $10,000 checks, meaning I'd need, in those 6 tournaments, I'd have to cash at least 4 $10,000 tournaments and 1 top 75 to get my money back. The NPFL, $39,000 in expenses. Again, I'd have to cash 4.5 $9,000 checks to get me back there. And the Opens is not even feasible if you cash the 40th place check. You would have to cash, to cover my $29,700 in expenses, I would have to cash 13 checks in 9 tournaments. Not even feasible. Now granted, with 200 plus boats, I think they're paying closer to $4,000 a check right now, which would then mean I'd have to get closer to 8 checks. So I'd have to cash in 8 out of 9 to cover my entry fees and expenses. So guys, all 3 of these are my options, and the reality is it stinks. All of them stink. I mean, it's not a good place to be. And I know I am not even talking about sponsor support here, because sponsor support is, yes, related to what I fish, but at the same time, I'm just looking at this. If I had no sponsor support, where should I be fishing based on where I can make a living? And the reality is, I don't think you can make a living fishing any 3 of these without sponsor support. So the last thing I want to talk about then is what I feel like I should do, right? Well, I need to get to what I feel like is the next level. The next level is the Elite Series or the BPT Tour. The NPFL, I think, is what they've got going, seems great so far, but I don't feel like there's much separation between where I'm at right now in the Pro Circuit and the NPFL. It's really pretty similar. Their return on entry fee is a little bit better, but really I have to cash 4.5 checks in either place to make money. They both have a no entry fee championship that, you know, is a great little bonus, but everything else is pretty similar. So that's not, I don't see enough difference for me to jump from where I'm at to the NPFL. In order to get to the BPT Tour, the rules state they'll take the top 10 Pro Circuit anglers. The issue with that right now is we've got BPT guys coming down to fish with us, which I actually, I like and approve because I think it's good for the Pro Circuit, and I want to fish against the top guys out there. The issue I have with that is within the top 10 from this year, there were 5 BPT guys that were already qualified to fish the BPT Tour, but they took the spots from the Pro Circuit and instead are going to roll down the BPT side. So 5 guys who were going to get cut from the BPT did not get cut. They can make their own rules. It's a business decision. I don't agree with that by any means. The issue here, guys, is if it's the top 10 out of a 150 boat field, the odds of being in that top 10, just from a lottery standpoint, is 6.6%. Not terrible. But when you have the guys from the BPT Tour coming down who are, you know, absolute hammers, they're going to be at the top. And this year we had 5 guys in the top. So if you consider the fact that probably every year we're going to have 5 out of the top 10 are BPT guys, what that means is only truly 5 Pro Circuit guys are going to get pulled up to the BPT. Well, if it's 5, that 5 in 150 cuts you down to a 3.3% chance of getting in. Not real good. You know, and you can say, well, maybe it won't be that way every year, and maybe it won't be that way every year. But this year, out of the top 20, 10 guys were BPT. So it's not like you're not going to have a bunch of guys every year in there. And again, I'm not opposed to them fishing. I like fishing with them. I got a lot of buddies that fish up there, and I like seeing them and fishing and competing against them, and I feel like I can compete against them. The reality, though, is to get to the next level, at best is 6.6% chance. At, worst is 0% chance. The Opens, so if you fish one division, you got to be in the top 3 out of the 200 guys that fish. But out of, just doing out of the top 150, if they have a 150 boat field, the top 3 is 2%. So 2% of that field will get pulled up to the elites. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Again, however, if you fish all 3 divisions, all 9 tournaments, you get into a separate AOI category, and they're going to take the top 3 from that. Well, I think there's usually roughly 40 guys that fish all 3 divisions. This changes the game quite a bit, guys. So if they take 3 from those top 40, all of a sudden you're at 7.5% chance. So that's by far the best chance to get to the next level, is to fish the Opens. But if you fish the Opens, you got to fish all of them. Financially, it's the worst one to fish by far, but it also provides the greatest shot at getting to the next level. So I want to know what you guys have to say. I want to know where you guys think I should fish. You guys are a big part of my business at this point. The support that you give me is a great, a great thing, and I feel like I should listen to what my supporters say. So let me know what you guys think. Throw in the comment section, where should I fish? MLF Pro Circuit, NPFL, or Bassmaster Opens? Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna go get out of the stink.